Hello and welcome to my channel on human design. Well, we've got something for everyone today, or almost everyone. We have manifestors and projectors and generators. So this is the this is the channel where I answer the questions. I respond to the questions that come from the viewers. And we're going to start off today with the manifestor. A good place to start with aligned with every design. And this is their question. Hello, Richard. I've hit an interesting edge living my design as a manifestor within a 12-step structure. I'm so curious for your insight. I'm a 3-5 emotional manifestor. I've been in a 12-step recovery program, not abstinence-based or life or death, but involves ongoing guidance through a sponsor. As someone self-employed for years, solo mother, and used to following my own inner authority, that dynamic feels unnatural, even though I'm open-minded and willing to follow the program's structure. How can a manifestor engage in this kind of guidance or accountability without betraying their own authority? Would you advise something more like working with a group or peer instead? Or is this friction part of what I'm meant to experience through this cross? Thank you so very much, learning so much from your videos. Well aligned with every divine. Thank you for your question. Okay, a 12-step structure for an uncontrollable emotional manifestor. Not only that, a manifestor that has two individual channels and one tribal channel. This is not somebody who's going to follow a step-by-step process, in my opinion, because step by step is more logically based and there's no logical channel in you. I don't have your full chart, which is unfortunate. If viewers will send me in their date, time, and place of birth, then I can respond in an accurate way, speaking the keynotes to you precisely. When I just am told what channels you have, I'm limited with how much I can access. And you can always send it to my email if you don't want to put it onto YouTube. So I'll have a go. Let's just look and see what we've got. We've got an emotional energy coming from the 2212. So this is a very moody channel. Okay, sometimes you're social, sometimes you're not social. Your wave moves, it comes out of the blue, it closes down, the sky falls on your head, you don't want to deal with anyone, and then you do, and then you're open. So, there's that. And then we've got the 1-8 where you have to go in your own unique direction. You leading yourself according to the less traveled road. You not trying to lead anyone. You just trying to go in your own way. So, and then we've got, and then we've got the design of a transmitter, the channel of surrender. This is someone that goes out there and promotes on behalf of other people. This is someone who persuades people to get involved with what they want them to get involved with. This is you, okay? So the idea of you going into a 12-step program and having a sponsor and having to be regulated and assessed by someone else is not natural. It's not going to feel natural. It's going to feel like you just want to get out of it, and you probably won't turn up to all the meetings anyway. I mean, when you're not in the mood, you're not in the mood. And, you can force yourself if you want, but yeah, manifestors don't like to be controlled, and manifestors shouldn't be controlled. And one of the things that happens again and again is that manifestors end up controlling themselves. So no, I'm not in favor of controlling manifestors or manifestors controlling themselves. I'm just not. So I don't think it's a good process for you. Again, I don't know the details of what's involved. I don't have your full chart. So I am limited in that. However, you are a 3-5 manifestor. You're here to find out by trial and error. You're here to find out what works and what doesn't work. And often you find out what doesn't work, as I do, as a 1-3. But, that's what gives us resilience, because we're prepared to have a go. We're prepared to see if it works. We're prepared to drop it if it doesn't work, and move on. So, would it be better for you to work with a peer? Would it be better for you to work in a group? You would have more freedom in that sense, and freedom being the buzzword for the manifester. To share if you want to share, to not be put under the spotlight, until it's for you to know that you can open up at this point, and then it could be incredible. It could be incredible for everyone. You know what you can do. You know the impact you can have when you tell the truth to someone else. When you go into your own processes, it can be magnificent, not just for you but for others. But being regulated, no, I don't think it's going to work. As you're finding, it doesn't feel natural. It isn't natural. And you say, is this because of my cross? Well, you're the cross of rulership. You're here to have your own territory. You're here to rule in your own way. This is the queen and the king gate. You're not here to take orders from other people. You don't want any bosses. You've been self-employed. You've done your own thing as a single mother. The idea of someone telling you what you should do or ought to do and then being held accountable for it, yeah, I don't think it's going to work that way. You are what you are. So you're not here to be controlled. You're not here to be assessed. You're not here to be judged. You're not here to fit your behavior into someone else's structure. You have to find your own way. Again, I don't know why you've gone into the 12-step program in the first place, but I think there must be a better way for you. And I would think, yeah, having a peer, having it in a group, some sort of group session would be better. So that's my response to you. I hope that's been helpful, and good luck with whatever it is. Thank you for the question. Our next question is from a regular, Waking the World, and this is a question about history. So let's hear from her. This is not so much a question, but rather a conundrum. Have just been watching and researching around a fascinating video, Who Really Built These Cathedrals? And after much analysis, including stats on population, the archivist comes to the reasoned conclusion that a great reset or cataclysmic event that wiped out most of humanity happened, quote, around the symbolic date of 1776. He talks about history not being linear, about it being a lie, which comes as no surprise. It is a story after all. Apart from skewing my mind, it got me thinking, hang on, human design charts don't go back before 1781, which is eerily close to this date. Why not? For the same reason, maybe? Did Ra shed any light on this? Thanks, Richard. Well, Waking the World, I am delighted that you're going into the history and you're finding out some of the lies that are out there. And in my view, it's a rich source of treasure back there. If you can find the original text, if you can find some of the old books, if you can look at the old photographs, if you can begin to go into the archives, you will indeed find out that we have been lied to a lot, and it's one of my keen interests as well. However, your question is about human design. Why 1781? Well, according to Ra, the voice said that in 1781, that coincided with Herschel's discovery of Uranus, we moved from the seven-centered into the nine-centered being. And this is the beginning of a transitory process in the development of consciousness. So it's not like there was a switch that was suddenly clicked and everybody suddenly had another couple of centers. It's not like that. It's gradual. It's gradual. It's a bit like in 2027 when the first raves will be born. We're not all going to become raves. There's going to be more and more coming in, but it'll be a gradual process. So a gradual move from the seven-centered to the nine-centered. And what we have now in the world are many people that are nine-centered, the majority, I would say. But it's taken time. So that's what he meant. And in terms of the reset in history, well, if you keep going and you keep going, you'll find there's another one in 1666. If you keep going back, it's not a uncommon thing. In fact, it is eerily repetitive. So I'll let you do the investigation on that, but keep looking is what I would say. And in terms of human design charts, if you're trying to do a chart on a seven-centered creature with a nine-centered system, you're not going to have everything there. You're going to have channels and gates in centers that hadn't yet materialized, which is why he said that they won't apply before 1781. All right, that's answered your question. I hope you're happy with that, and thank you for asking it. All right, we're now moving on to the next question, and this is a question about sacral response and the kind of sacral response. So this is a question from Weaving Human Design. This is their question. Dear Richard, thanks so much for these videos. I never miss a week. Today's question in your videos about the generator might feel their response really struck me deeply. You spoke about the sounds of the sacral gates. I've heard this before, yet never put it as clearly as today, how the other centers, in this case the spleen, might also feed into the response in some way. I would love to know more about my specific response and how it may be experienced. For example, my response is connected to the root through the 952, then travels up the 5818 and 3828, and then up through the 4816. I have a defined head in ajna, 6124, split off from the rest of my design, with gate 11 being my bridge gate. I still feel my busy head overthinks my sacral response. I would love your opinion here. Thank you. Well, the sacral response is really for us each to discover. Again, I don't know if there's other gates in your sacral. I'm presuming not, because you brought in the fifth gate as well in your second part of the question. How does that affect the sounds? Think about what logic is. We looked earlier on at the manifestor that had no logical stream, so it's not, it's not an intense chart. It's a powerful chart in that sense, which can be very melodramatic and very creative and very opening in many beautiful ways as well. But here we have your chart, which is primarily logical, with a very individual way of thinking. You ponder things and you think outside the box and you have all kinds of weird thoughts. Good for you. But in terms of the response, what's going on? Well, you have two logical gates, and you have a logical gate under pressure in the 52-9. So this is the channel of concentration. I also have the ninth gate. I don't have it under pressure from the 52. I do have it under pressure through the 360. And my experience of the ninth gate, and I think we can also bring this in with the 5 as well, because they're both logical. Sometimes I hear myself going, very, very blunt, very concise. It's not something, if you think about the 59, you would think of it more like a, if it was it's more of a movement into the solar plex. So in your case, logic, and is the spleen brought in as well? Well, you do have it connected to the spleen. The spleen is about awareness. Again, you've got the full stream of taste going from the 58 all the way up to the 16. So wow, you are really quite a systematic being, and very, very, very useful to a lot of people. And I hope you're appreciated for that. But in terms of your own response, information can come through, probably information about is this the right direction for me? Is this what I should be starting off from? You don't want to get involved with work that is going to be held up through the lack of finances. And one of the things with logic is that, study and experiments, they need backing. You've got to go deep into the details in the ninth gate, and we don't know how long that's going to take. We don't know what equipment's going to be needed necessarily, depending on what you find, but it's usually a longer process. You get through that, and then you do phase one, and then you do phase two. With your kind of chart, you don't want long-term projects. You want to break them down into smaller pieces so you can kind of get through phase one and then go to phase two. So I would imagine your response would be more abrupt. It would be more intense when it comes out of you. And at the same time, you would only really be available because of the spleen and the way that your awareness works to do things, a bit at a time. So if it's a powerful response, it means that it fits in with the way that your awareness comes out, and you can do the work really well. So that's my answer to you, and hear for yourself when your response comes out. Hear for yourself what it's like, and please feedback to me if that is correct. But that's what I presume is the case. Okay, well, that's all for today. I only received 3 questions to respond to this time, which is pretty good because I'm extremely busy right now working on all kinds of projects, which is going to be really fantastic for you viewers when I announce them. You're going to really enjoy what I'm creating right now, and I'm under deadlines. So thank you for asking just a few questions, and I hope you've enjoyed this. And if you have, please like, share, and subscribe. And I'll be back again next week with something completely different. Thank you. Bye for now.